Shalom. All praise to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. Double honor to the Apostle GMS. My name is Amnal Allah, coming at you another video. In this video, I want to begin to the poor man's wisdom is despised. This is Sirach chapter 10. I'm going to go to the 23rd verse. It says, "It is not meet to despise the poor man that hath understanding, neither is it convenient to magnify a sinful man." So it is not meet or good to despise the poor man that hath understanding. That's the point we're getting into. Neither is it convenient to magnify a sinful man, right? It's not convenient or good to magnify a sinful man, to make a sinful man seem great. That's not something that's convenient. But the main point I want to get to is the beginning of the verse. It is not meet to despise the poor man that hath understanding. Alright? Because though he may be poor, he's rich in the knowledge of the Lord. That's Romans 11 and 33. All the depths of riches of the Lord, of the wisdom of the Lord. That's Romans 11:33. So though he may be poor, he's rich in the wisdom of the Most High, just as we are the prophets of the Most High, which we are the prophets. Proverbs 1 and 22. How long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity? Right. How long will those that are simple love to be simple? How long would that be? And the scorners delight in their scorning. A person who's scorning you is treating you as if you're worthless, and that's how they act towards us, as if we're worthless, because they despise the poor man that hath understanding. Because they're simple and love simplicity. Only a simple person would despise the poor man's knowledge. And the scorners delight in their scorning. And fools hate knowledge. Right, fools hate knowledge. Fools despise the poor man that hath understanding, because you despising his wisdom. Okay? You're looking at him for the fact that he's poor in material wealth, but not taking into account the fact that he's rich in spiritual wealth. Here's the book of Ecclesiastes 9 and 15. Let's read the next verse. Verse 23. "Turn you at my reproof of my correction. Behold, I'll pour my spirit unto you. I'll make known my words unto you." That's what the scriptures tell you. It says that the scriptures make wise the simple. That's turning you at the Lord's reproof. Alright, see if I can find that scripture. Bear me 1 second. It says making. Damn it. I forgot to put the letter E. Get that real quick. Bear with me. Making wise is simple. Yep. Psalms 19 and 7. "The law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple." See? Makes wise the simple. And Proverbs 21:11 says, "When the scorner is punished, the simple is made wise. And when the wise is instructed, he receiveth knowledge." So it says, when the scorner is punished, the simple is made wise. That's what the scripture says. "How long will you simple ones love simplicity, and the scorner delight in their scorning? Turn you at my reproof." The simple ones love simplicity, and the scorners delight in their scorning. But when the scornful is punished, the simple is made wise. And they turn at the reproof of the Lord. They turn at his correction, because the Lord pours a spirit upon them. And we have been made wise, because we were once simple. We just read that in Psalms 19 and 7. Let's read on. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 9, verse 15. It says, "Now there was found in it," Ecclesiastes 9 and 14. "There was a little city and a few men within it. And there came a great king against it, and besieged it, and built great bulwarks against it. Now there was found in it a poor wise man." Right? "And he by his wisdom delivered the city. Yet no man, um, yet no man, yet no man remember that same poor man." So there was found in the city a poor wise man, and by his wisdom he delivered the city. He delivered the city by his wisdom. You read the previous verse, speaks about a little city. It speaks about a little city and few men within it. And there came a great king against it and besieged that city. But there was found in that city a poor wise man, and he by his wisdom delivered the city. So the city was delivered by that poor wise man's wisdom, man. That's how powerful that wisdom is. That's what there's a scripture in the book of Ecclesiastes. It tells you wisdom, strength. Let's see if I can find that. See if I can find that. Yep, Ecclesiastes 7:19. Wisdom strengtheneth the wise more than 10 mighty men which are in the city. So wisdom strengtheneth the wise more than 10 mighty men that are in the city. Because there was a little city and few men within it, and there came a great king and besieged that city. Came against the city, besieged it, and built great bulwarks against that city. But in that city there was a poor wise man, and his wisdom delivered the city. His wisdom did for that city. His wisdom did for that city what the mighty men in that city couldn't do, which was deliver it. That's how powerful wisdom is. So you're not supposed to despise a poor man that had wisdom. All right? And a bulwark is like a wall, like a defense wall. But reading on, it says, now there was found in it a poor wise man, and he by his wisdom delivered the city, yet no man remembered that same poor man. Then said I, wisdom is better than strength. Nevertheless, the poor man's wisdom is despised, and his words are not heard. The poor man, wisdom is better than strength. Nevertheless, a poor man's wisdom is despised, and his words are not heard. That's when nobody takes heed to what it is that we say, because we're poor men. We aren't living in opulence, wealth. But the Most High don't deal like that. He deals with those that fear Him, and fear the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. We go read that in the next verse. The words and his words are not heard. The words of wise men are heard in quiet, more than the cry of him that ruleth among fools. So a cry of him that ruleth among fools, the words spoken of a person that ruleth among fools, a wise man's words is heard less than him, because simple ones love simplicity. Fools hate knowledge. Verse 18, wisdom is better than weapons of war. Wisdom is better than weapons of war, but one sinner destroyeth much good. So wisdom is better than weapons of war, because wisdom is what's going to deliver us. Not picking up arms against Esau, the so-called white man. You know what I'm saying? That's not going to deliver us. I want to see if there's another verse right here. Okay, that's the point. Proverbs 1:7. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. So the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. So in order to have the knowledge of the Lord, the prophecies, the laws, statutes, and commandments, you first got to fear the Lord first. That's the beginning of knowledge. Why? Because if you fear the Lord, that's the beginning of your knowledge of the Lord. Because you know that if you transgress the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, then you could be punished, you could be judged. So fearing the Lord is the beginning. That's the basis. That's the foundation of the knowledge of the Lord. First, you fear Him. Now that you understand that you fear Him, if you go against Him, you'll be punished. So you have the knowledge of the fear of the Lord, because the knowledge of the fearing the Lord is the beginning of that knowledge. Okay? So the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction, because everything begins with the fear of the Lord, man. If you fear the Lord, you'll do what He say, because you know the prophecies that's to come. You'll be punished if you don't do what He say. So that fear is the very first thing that you learn. It's the very beginning. It's the very beginning of knowledge. Proverbs 23:9. It says, "Speak not in the ears of a fool, for he will despise the wisdom of thy words." There you go, right there. Don't speak in the ears of a fool, because a fool is going to despise the wisdom of your words, man. They don't want to hear it. They're fools. Amos 5:10. They hate him that rebuketh in the gate, and they abhor him that speaketh uprightly. So they hate him that rebuketh in the gate, and they abhor him that speaketh uprightly, man. And that's us. We rebuking in the gate. Whenever we go out there and teach, we go on low willing through the spirit. How about Shema? We'll be out there later on today, rebuking in the gates of the city. But guess what? They hate us for that, because we're correcting them. And they abhor him that speaketh uprightly. Meaning what? When you abhor something, it's like you're looking at it in disgust, you know? And that's how they feel towards us, man. Or a feeling of hatred. that speaketh uprightly. We speaking the words of the Lord, and they abhor us for that. They hate us for that. Jeremiah chapter 20, verse 9. Here's an example of that. Jeremiah 20 and 8. For since I spake, I cried out. This is Jeremiah speaking, starting verse 7. O Lord, O Yahweh Bashim Yahshai, thou hast deceived me, and I was deceived. Thou art stronger than I, and hast prevailed. I am in derision daily, everyone mocketh me. For since I spake, I cried out. I cried violence and spoil, because the word of the Lord was made a reproach unto me, and a derision daily. So he said, Lord, you deceived me, Lord, because you're stronger than I. You prevailed. I'm in derision daily. So every day, Jeremiah was in derision. Okay? Jeremiah was in derision every day, man. Because why? The word of the Lord was given unto him. All right? For since I spake, I cried out. I cried violence and spoil. Because the word of the Lord was... So he cried of violence and spoil. Because the word... he cried violence and spoil. Because the word of the Lord was made a reproach unto me, and derision daily. Derision is like when somebody's ridiculing you, man. Or showing hatred towards you. Or like you being laughed at. That's what happened with Jeremiah. For since I spake, I cried out. I cried violence and spoil, because the word of the Lord was made a reproach unto me, and derision daily. Then I said, I will not make mention of him, nor speak any more his name. So he was catching so much hell. He said, man, I'm not going to prophesy no more, man. Forget this thing. He didn't want to do it no more. He didn't want to do it. But his word was in my heart as a burning fire shut up in my bones. So the word of the Most High was like a fire that was in the spirit. He couldn't stop if he wanted to. Okay? He couldn't stop if he wanted to, man. He was suffering all that reproach. And you know, when somebody's reproaching you, they're showing some type of disgrace. It's like they're looking at you in a disgraceful manner. They're showing some kind of disapproval towards you, man. But guess what? That made him want to quit. He said, I'm not going to make mention of him no more. But his word was in my heart as a burning fire shut up in my bones. And I was weary with forbearing, and I could not stay. So he was weary with forbearing, man. He was weary with forbearing not to teach the word of the Lord. He like, damn, man, I can't stop. Because I can't stop teaching. You know what I'm saying? In other words, if he would have forbid to teach the word of the Lord, he was going to refrain from teaching the word of the Lord. But he would grow weary. He said, nah, I couldn't stay. I couldn't stay away from it. I just can't do it. It's like a burning fire within me. I got to teach. For I heard the defaming of many, right? They was defaming them. When you defaming someone, it's like you're seeking to destroy their reputation. For I heard the defaming of many, fail on every side. Report, say they, and we report it. All my familiars watch for my hating, for my halting. So all his familiar, everybody else familiar with him, all of his acquaintances, they watch for him to cease. They watch for his halting, saying what? Peradventure he will be enticed, and we shall prevail against him, and we shall take our revenge on him. Say, the time gonna come, man. He gonna be enticed. He's gonna be a lord, and we're gonna prevail against him. In other words, they were trying to set Jeremiah up. The time is gonna come when he's gonna be able to get enticed, man. You know, because peradventure means like it means like what's the word I'm looking for? Peradventure means like it's like you're doubting something, or you're saying like perhaps he will be enticed, or he will be a lord, or drawn out, and we shall prevail against him. We shall take our revenge. In other words, they wanted to set him out, they wanted to kill him. But the Lord is with me as a mighty, terrible one. Therefore my persecutor shall stumble. Everybody that wanted to persecute him is going to stumble, man. They're going to fail. And they shall not prevail. They shall be greatly ashamed, and they shall not prosper. The everlasting confusion shall never be forgotten. And they're going to be punished for that. All right? So with that, I'm going to close. I could read a little bit more, but that's the point. So with that, I'm going to close. I hope you brothers learned something. Shalom.